And it is the Saturday Coffee Klatch with Heather Lofthouse. Hello,
Hello.
Heather. And yours truly, Robert Reich. Heather, how are you? I'm going to ask that because we've just passed the 6-month mark in terms of this administration, this regime, Trump regime. And I'm curious. How are you doing? Seriously.
Oh, it's hellish.
It is hellish.
It's not great.
So when people come up to you on the street,
I
friends,
lie. I lie.
They say, "How are you, Heather?"
I just say if things are good, I'm sticking with it, which is half true. But
Because,
today it's rougher today. It just depends on the day, in the morning, in the minute, in the hour. But we're together, so it's going to be fine, right?
This morning, somebody asked me how I'm doing. Now, it was somebody who I knew.
Okay.
And I said, shitty.
Wow.
And it just felt right.
I know.
Do you know?
I know. That's why I just said to you, it's not great. But I do feel, let's go through it. There's some stuff to cover from the week.
Yeah, let's talk.
You'll be
What are we going to
know.
talk about? What are we going to talk about
Well,
today?
we have to talk about the Jeffrey Epstein situation.
Didn't we talk about that last week?
Yeah, but it is still at the top of everyone's feeds, and we need to discuss why that is the case, what's actually happening, can you be psychic and tell us what's going to happen in the future?
Well, I will
those
do that.
questions.
I know what's going to happen in the future. I've been through this already. By the way, a lot of people liked us being in Saul's.
I liked us being in
Saul's. Well, I think we should try. What? Let me just ask you guys. Let us know if you would like us to be back either at Saul's or any other coffee shop because.
Oh God.
What?
What are we going to travel?
We could travel.
The world?
Why not?
Is there a geographic limit?
There's no limit.
Okay.
We could
let
be
us know where you want us.
And wherever. Epstein.
Okay. So talk about taking all the oxygen. It's just been wild. But why? The latest with Trump, we have. How do you say her name?
Giselle. Is it no?
Ghislaine.
Ghislaine.
Ghislaine. I think.
Maxwell.
We say it one way in France and one way in England.
Look, this whole thing has a life of its own, obviously, and I think the reason a lot of people I know are very excited about it is because this is a chink in his armor. Trump, no matter how much he tries to deflect attention, no matter what he does, people are coming back, and in fact, it looks like a cover-up. It feels like Nixon covering up a cover-up, and once you start covering up a cover-up, you are really. You can't get out. It's quicksand. I think that's why a lot of people love what's going on right now. At least Democrats and liberals and progressives. And on the other side, you've got a lot of people who just don't believe Trump because they don't believe the Justice Department can be trusted because this is.
And are they right?
Well, of course they're right. This is the irony. Trump has extended his power beyond any president before, and so that he's co-opted the Justice Department, he's co-opted the Republicans on the Hill, he's co-opted everything around him, so there's no independent source of credible evidence that he did not engage in, sex with underage women and all of the other things that that the Epstein case involved itself in.
And you saw him yesterday say, when they said, would you consider pardoning Ghislaine Maxwell? And he said, I haven't thought about it. I could. I have the power to do that.
Exactly. So that's the other thing. He's sort of been hoisted on his own petard. Remember that expression?
I do. So I think.
Hoisted on his own petard.
Right. So what it means, can we just break it down? Right. So I think it means, so it's a bomb. A petard is a French word for a little, I think.
And if you're hoisted on your own bomb.
Right. You're putting it, you're blowing it.
What kind of bomb
is? You're self-exploding.
So a petard is French for a bomb?
Yeah, a tiny little bomb, and you're putting it up and then it explodes in your face.
I thought it was a fart.
That's the original. So I do think in French, the word for petard comes from the Latin word for fart.
I'd rather it be fart because I can imagine Donald Trump being hoisted on his own fart. I like
That
that
is
one.
good. Is this going to be your cartoon contest for the week on Substack?
But really, this is because the more power he has, and the more he exerts it over the Justice Department, over pardons, over Mike Johnson, who basically said to the House, "Please get out of town because I don't want this investigation. I don't want any subpoenas." Everybody sees more and more of a cover-up. So Trump has no place to get a credible third party who is not somehow under his domain.
But it's so interesting because on the one hand, I feel like, are we really focusing on this man who's a horrible person who was guilty of his crimes and then died? This has been around for all this primary source material. All this stuff has been out there since before he was elected in 2016. Why is it coming to the fore now? Where has the media been? I mean...
Well, it's a very good question. And the fact that it was the Wall Street Journal that broke the last stories, that revived the last part of this, is particularly interesting because Rupert Murdoch obviously was in strong alliance with Trump. So the real break and the real interesting fissure here may not be so much in the MAGA world as such. It may be between Murdoch and Trump, just like the gap between Elon Musk and Trump. In fact, remember, Musk was the first one who said when Trump and Musk were having difficulties
during
the breakup, Musk said, the Epstein files, you won't believe what's there. I mean, he's going to be implicated.
And
this
then
is
he
a continuation.
retreated.
So the answer to your question, why now, is I think Murdoch and Musk.
Yeah. I mean, on the one hand, of course, we'll take it. But on the other hand, there have been so many horrific things. I mean, he was convicted of assaulting, whatever the terminology was that the, court used, E. Jean Carroll.
Well, it was a civil lawsuit, and the judge in that civil lawsuit said, in response to some misinformation out there, he said, this was rape.
Right.
This was rape. Donald Trump raped this woman.
So we have all these examples of his egregious, inappropriate, illegal behavior.
And the Hollywood, Access Hollywood tape.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no question that he is a philanderer and a harasser, and he does, whatever he wants sexually, and he has. But this adds the issue of children. And this is a serious issue. I don't want to minimize the seriousness. This is a huge and serious issue. But once he is in this realm, possibly, then I think even the MAGAs say, no, we're not going to go along with this.
And it's the cover-up of the cover-up, and it's the supreme QAnon conspiracy theory of pedophilia, and it's all wrapped up in all of that, right?
And again, hoisted on his own fart.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a divine justice here. The question is whether
we'll see.
The question is whether it continues. Remember, we're now entering the summer. Congress is home. It's August. It's recess. People are off, fishing and doing what people do in the summer.
Right. A lot of fishing.
But is there? I think in Trump's mind, if it's not headlines every day, the public forgets it. But actually, this particular issue doesn't die. And I just have felt it very interesting that no matter how Trump tries to divert attention, it doesn't die. It's growing.
It is. And so there's the headlines about Epstein, and then he tries to one up with something about Obama's character and, role in elections.
And it looks like a patent deflection. I mean, that's what a lot of people say. Wait a minute. Obama, you're throwing in here? You're doing what? Why are you so desperate to deflect? Why are you so desperate? This is even MAGA people are saying that.
But don't you think, if he controls everything, then isn't Pam Bondi just going to put it in a shredder? I mean, what is it? Is he going to pardon Ghislaine?
Well, it probably will, but even that.
And then she'll,
but even if
take the secret?
even if Ghislaine, is that how you pronounce it?
Don't know.
Maxwell.
Don't know.
If she says, as she's subpoenaed, and she says, no, Donald Trump never appeared. I don't have any recollection of him being anywhere near Jeffrey Epstein and one of Jeffrey Epstein's
In
escapades.
fact, I can confirm he was never there. I mean, she could go far.
Yes, but of course, people are going to doubt her testimony because Trump has used his pardon authority to do so many things that are in his own personal interest.
Right.
This is another aspect of him being hoisted on his own fart.
Oh, God. But then what else exists? So we have the letter, right, that was in the Jeffrey Epstein's birthday book.
That's the Wall Street Journal, and his signing,
Yep.
Donald Trump, right, in kind of pubic hair,
Curly.
I mean, it's almost embarrassing to have to go through this because it is so
That's what I was
salacious
thinking.
and so disgusting.
And we had other examples that we could have made a decision based on. But I appreciate your point about the cover-up, and it being the supreme example of hypocrisy from the man who claimed he hates hypocrites.
Yes, and there are going to be elections before the midterms, which are going to tell us a lot. In Virginia, for example, whether this has any legs, whether it continues to fester.
We have to keep watching those.
And yes, remember, because we've only had 6 months of Trump, and we still have a while, 15 months, 14 months, until the midterm elections. So a lot could happen. We don't know. But I have a very clear memory, because I'm much older than you, of Nixon. And Nixon saying, obviously I had nothing to do with it. I have nothing to do with Watergate, nothing. And people beginning to ask, what did he know? And when did he know it? And John Dean, remember John Dean's famous dictum about there's a cancer on the White House?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it may be similar.
I feel like Donald Trump knew it years ago.
I think he did.
I mean, right?
He did know it.
I think
And his
he knew
past
it.
is maybe finally catching up with him.
So,
But no, I was just going to say, Heather, one thing that worries me about all of this, again, the seriousness, obviously it's serious, but I worry about other things getting pushed off of the public conversation.
That's what I was going to say, because you wrote this in your Substack and you said, what are we missing because we're focused on this? One, because it's important and we need to talk about those stories. But two, because also Trump has a plan, right, where we don't focus on other things because we're lost in the fog of whatever he's doing that minute.
And
so what are we missing out on?
Well, we're missing a lot. Look at the starvation that's going on in Israel. Children, Palestinian children
Gaza,
in Gaza are actually starving now because of what Israel is doing, Netanyahu. And I think that Trump is an enabler of Netanyahu much, much more directly than Biden ever was. We're sending a lot of military equipment. We are supporting Netanyahu in whatever Netanyahu wants to do. But Netanyahu is making it impossible for a lot of humanitarian food and medical supplies to get through.
That's it.
To the Palestinians
and
in Gaza.
USAID, by the way.
And USAID, obviously. So, we have the suffering, visible suffering.
Did you see in the New York Times they did a video and it had this boy, I keep thinking about his little face, and he had his bowl and he was crying out and you could see him between kind of, I don't know if it was a fence or what, but the videos are so devastating. I mean, it's all devastating, but when you see it, I don't know how it cannot be discussed more. And
again, it's this crowding out phenomenon. I remember it was in the Vietnam War, during the Vietnam War, the photos of these children who were fleeing bombs and napalm, and little girls who were fleeing naked, screaming, and it just got through. Finally, people began to internalize what was going on, and I think that there may be the beginnings of people internalizing, actual starvation. We're not talking about malnutrition any longer. We're talking about starvation
and then
children.
murdering people who are trying to get food.
Yeah. And Netanyahu is a war criminal. Let's be very, very clear about this.
Yep.
And would we be talking about this more were it not for the other things that are crowding it out, like, for example, Jeffrey Epstein. The other thing that I would say we should be or would be talking about has to do with the 57,000 people who are now in detention centers, concentration camps, some of them in foreign countries, some of them in torture camps, who were working and living in the United States, 70% of them without any criminal record at all.
Being swept up by ICE.
Swept up by ICE, many times ICE in plain clothes, unidentified. This is so contrary to America.
57,000, that number.
Sorry?
57,000.
And that number keeps growing.
And they want it to grow. They have targets.
Yeah, Stephen Miller says, our goal is 3,000 a day. Families being broken up, communities being, just rendered dysfunctional because of what? Because of an emergency? Is this a national emergency? We should be talking about this. Why aren't we talking about this as well?
But is this going to create cracks in the MAGA base too? I mean, Joe Rogan has come out and said it's too much here. It's too much. I mean, if Joe Rogan says it's too much, is this another place where there can be a tiny seed of hope that something's breaking through?
Well, certainly, if polls are to be believed, public support for going after immigrants, even immigrants who are here, undocumented immigrants, public support has plummeted.
It's not popular.
No. The public, to the extent that they know what's going on with regard to either children and people in Palestine or Palestinians in Gaza, or the suffering of people who had been members of their communities in the United States.
Now, Bob, that graph you showed?
Yeah.
On your Substack that said, what is the number one story? It's a data for progress graph. What is the number one story that you remember from this week? Number one was Epstein.
Yes, and it fell off very, very rapidly. Number two, number three, number four. Almost no other stories had nearly the salience.
Gaza was 14 or something?
Something like that.
And above that was don't know. And the third one was I don't have one. None.
Right.
The way people are consuming news and what's breaking through, you can see the polls that are being done and the research, and
Heather,
it's
also
not landing.
This week, what we learned about the judges, over a third of federal judges feel, with some justification, they've said it openly, that the administration is defying their orders. Over a third of federal judges.
Federal judges.
Now, did this get any attention? It barely.
I saw it in your Substack.
Well,
thank you.
Good.
So a few of us read it.
Thank you for reading my Substack.
But this is the U.S. means the U.S. Constitution is not.
It's the best and clearest evidence yet that the Trump administration, the Trump regime, I call it, is flouting the Constitution,
right,
and intentionally flouting the Constitution. And there are a lot of people, Trump and people around him, who say, we don't owe it, we don't have to follow the federal courts. So they're usurping the powers of Congress. They are usurping the powers of the federal courts. They are abusing whatever presidential powers they had. And these things we ought to be focusing on in addition to Epstein.
Epstein. Do we have to say it again? One thing you said, you were talking about polls, and you said the immigration numbers. But what's been so hopeful or something, we talked about this on the Klatch Weekly since the 6-month mark. I can't believe that. For 6 months we've been talking about it. But Donald Trump's polls, so what is it, 37 approval rating right now, which is close to January 6th?
Yes.
Related polls?
It's below Biden's
low.
approval, any low that Biden had, even after with the withdrawal from Afghanistan. It is remarkably low. And you know that it's getting to Trump because what has Trump done this week? He brags about how high his polls are. You can actually plot how what is upsetting Trump by the degree to which he is denying or deflecting or trying to.
Okay, so maybe we need a deflection
meter.
Yes,
deflection meter.
That's what I was going to say.
How about right here?
Are you going to
Deflection.
scribble in it, or should we just have
We'll
Michael
just have
and
a
the
deflection
team?
meter. We'll carry
Can
it
it be
around. But
digital?
if we go back to Saul's or any other, we'll bring our deflection
Oh,
meter.
it'll be everywhere.
Yeah.
I'll get it. Can we have it so it folds up so it's more efficient? I need a handle.
We'll get a handle on it.
I'm just thinking ahead. Yeah,
We'll get a handle on everything.
that. But so you saw that Trump is nearly negative 32 among Gen Z voters. What's wild to me about that, it's not surprising to me. 18 to 29, people are saying, I'm not liking what's going on. That doesn't surprise me. What surprised me is his net positive approval was plus 10 as of November of last year in that same age group. So for the election, it was like, he's great. And so that young person group, even if, I wanted to see the polls from Data for Progress and see of the people who are paying attention to Epstein, how many of those are those young people? Are young people paying attention to Gaza? They're probably not paying attention to the federal workers and the federal judges, and the ICE detentions they're paying attention to.
Yes, they're paying attention to ICE detention. They're paying attention to a lot of the, and I deal with these young people all the time, and I even teach them, or I did teach them, and I'm teaching them a little bit, tiny bit, but they are very upset by the moral implications. Right. They feel the immorality of this administration, not just Epstein, but everything we've talked about in terms of putting people in detention, people who have not had any due process. We don't even know who these people are. There's just accusations against them. They're members of their communities. The issues we've talked about, young people are really upset about. And the thing about this cohort, 18 to 29, and these years are the critical years in terms of young people deciding what their political orientation is going to be, often for the rest of their lives.
And civic engagement. How much are they going to put their foot on the gas? Where are they? How motivated are they? What is their sense of agency around? So getting to them is critical.
Exactly. And this is another thing that gives me hope. And because these young people are committed, they're angry, they don't want to go down the direction that the country is going down under Trump. They are committed to changing it. They know it's going to be a long haul. Many of them not all of them, obviously, but they are graduating and they are going into kinds of work in which they are changing the country. They want to change the country. They want to dedicate their lives, or at least a piece of their lives, not maybe their entire work life and not maybe 40 hours a week, but they are intent on making a difference, making positive social change.
Right.
Isn't that? That's fabulous.
It's so good. I wanted to go negative again, though, but I'm not doing it. I wanted to say, but the employment numbers are so low for people with college degrees.
Well, that's true, and
Sorry, I brought us down again.
The economy is going to be hard,
and that's what I'm hearing from a lot of these young folks. And
well, it's not just young people. It's all aspects of starting a family and getting into work and coming up,
affording
rental
anything. Unit.
Yes, yeah. It's tough. I think also, if you want to look at the other side, the cup half full, the public, the Trump supporters, and I'm talking about working class people, they are beginning to see that the Trump economic policies, the big ugly bill and taking away Medicaid and taking away food stamps and giving a big tax cut to the rich, and the tariffs, which are making everything more expensive, inflation, the inflation numbers are going up.
Yep.
I think a lot of people are saying, wait a minute, he's not there for me.
Right.
He's there for the big corporations and the
himself.
billionaires.
And himself.
This
reminds me, my friend said she read something the other day, which was something like, to all the people who are sitting there arguing about whether it's half full or half empty, the glass, could you get up and just fill it? Could you go to the tap? We have an option. You don't have to stare at the glass.
Fill it.
I love that, though.
Yeah. No, that's true.
It's good.
A lot of this comes back, and you and I have emphasized this, personal responsibility. We are the leaders we've been waiting for. We can't just wait passively for something to happen.
Right. So we have to remain educated. We have to remain engaged. Elections are coming up. I mean, people keep saying, I want a specific to-do list. Give me the to-do list.
Well, the to-do list has to come from all of us. It's not going to be, the Democratic Party is not going to tell everybody what to do.
I didn't think that that's where we were getting the to-do list.
We aren't. I mean, I am disappointed with the Democrats, but I've been disappointed with the Democrats.
I know. I've seen you
for
talking
50,
about it.
60 years.
Yeah.
That's not where the leadership
We've all
is going
seen
to
you
come
talking
from.
about it. I know. Okay, so one more thing that I want to talk about before we have a special guest, which I'm so excited for, because we made a film called The Last Class, which so many of you are seeing, and the director will be here with us, Elliot Kirshner. But before we get to that, some of the other things that pop through on my feed, and you pointed these out on Substack too, are the silencing that's going on and these stories of silencing. And we have a bunch of examples. So can we start with what's happening at the Washington Post?
Well, that's a tragedy. I mean, Jeff Bezos has taken over, as we know, the editorial function, the editorial page of the Washington Post. And this is before the election. He said, you can't say anything critical of Donald Trump. We cannot support
Endorsing,
Kamala Harris.
yep.
We cannot endorse her. And then since then, he has really exerted a stranglehold. A lot of people have left the Washington Post, very talented columnists. And in fact, this week, somebody who I admire greatly, Eduardo Porter, he left. And in his final column this week, he said he's leaving because Bezos, in what appears to be an attempt to avoid Trump's wrath, Bezos is making it impossible to criticize Trump.
Right. I mean, we know this. The cartoonist, I just forgot her name. She was let go. I mean, come on.
Where she, some of them have
She
let
resigned.
go. Some of them have got golden parachutes.
Right.
Basically, please let go.
Right.
And then some of them have just resigned.
Right.
But the point is, the Washington Post used to be, I remember, this during Watergate, the Washington Post was the center of not only reporting but editorializing against Richard Nixon. Now it has been completely defanged.
Who were the journalists in All the President's Men? Where were they supposed to be from?
They were from the Washington
Right?
Post.
That's what I thought.
Heather, how young were you, Watergate?
I know. I was giving you a softball. I knew the answer to that
73?
one. I was letting you sound like you could teach me something, but I knew the answer, guys.
Well, wait a minute. But it's not just the Washington Post. Look at what happened to Stephen Colbert.
We haven't even had a coffee clutch since that happened.
Well, Colbert comes back from vacation and he says, Paramount, which is the owner of CBS, which puts on Colbert, the most successful late night program there is in America. He says, this is just a big bribe that they're giving Trump to get him off their backs so that they can sell their stake in CBS to Skydive or whatever it's called.
Skydance.
Skydance.
I like Skydive.
Skydive would be
start
better.
A company called Skydive.
And he was very critical. He's funny, obviously. He hides his criticism in this extraordinary satire. But 3 days later, CBS, that is Paramount, cancels Colbert. And
his manager supposedly heard before he did, of course.
Of course. It's why is this surprising to anybody? This is an attempt to silence. It's exactly like the Washington Post.
But the internet has gone crazy on this one with all his clips and what he's saying. And
but
you saw South Park
yes,
came
South
out
Park.
and said is making fun. I mean, they've made fun of everyone.
No,
the whole time.
but essentially 1 week after all of this happened, that is the cancellation. 1 week after that, that is 2 days ago from right now, the merger went through. The sale, I should say.
$8 billion.
Yeah, $8 billion. And so you have, the billionaires, Sherry Redstone, sitting there on top of Paramount, just like Jeff Bezos.
On top of Paramount, I'm picturing dollar bills under her.
Yes, and they don't, Bezos and Sherry Redstone, the billionaires don't want to risk the wrath of Trump. But you see, it's the same story.
I know.
It's exactly the same story.
And then Colombia. Can we talk about the education side of things?
Well,
'Cause
Colombia
that
this
was
week,
disappointing.
Colombia did another surrender to Trump, a form of surrender. I mean, it says, we'll pay you $200 million to get off our backs, to release the federal funds.
And agree to a number of stipulations.
Yes, and this is what really is concerning, because Trump doesn't want universities. Universities are the center of a lot of criticism of Trump, and this is he
They're
wants
the center
to
of
control.
criticism. They're a critical thinking.
Exactly. They're critical
Builder.
thinking, and they come up with truth. I mean, like Trump says,
They work hard at it.
the climate change is a hoax, and the university researchers say, well, here's the evidence.
Right,
Climate change
data.
is happening. Data, real analysis. He doesn't want real data. He doesn't want facts, and so he's
doesn't
clamping
want
down on the
criticism.
universities. He's clamping down on Harvard, trying to, on Columbia. Columbia is relenting. But here's the thing, that agreement that Colombia made with the Trump regime is not just a payment of $200 million, but it is also allowing the regime to review Colombia's admission policies and its promotion policies and its hiring policies in terms of professors. Once you open your door to that kind of government review, Trump government review, well, is that not going to be a stifling of criticism? I mean, if you're president of Colombia, if you have somebody coming up for tenure who has made her reputation on criticizing Trump or coming up with evidence that contradicts what Trump has said, and he's furious about it, well, what are you going to do?
Right. Chopping block.
I would think so. I mean, that's the big
think
danger.
you have to.
What we're talking about here is really the underlying silencing that Trump is doing across the board with regard to critics.
Underlying, but also kind of right in front of our faces.
It is right in front of our faces, exactly, Heather. And this is despotism number one. This is what a dictator does.
Right.
You
In the playbook.
silence critics.
Okay, well, so we had a few seeds of hope in here. One seed of hope is that I produced this film that you let us take video of you, not knowing it would be a film, thinking it would be a video or a short film. And we have the director here, Elliot Kirshner. And so a couple things on this. One is it shows how powerful education is, full stop, but also for a democracy. And that's critically important, but also it is a rallying cry for civic engagement. And so let's watch the trailer and then we'll speak with Elliot.
My name is Robert Reich. What we are going to be talking about is happening now.
I've been a teacher for 42 years. I'm beginning my last semester. I've done a lot of other things.
I was Secretary of Labor.
But I've always come back to teaching. And I can't imagine not doing it. So many people have come up to me and said, are you still teaching or are you retired? And I resist the urge to punch them in the nose.
The wealth is held by the richest 400 Americans. You get the picture.
Democracy is not a spectator sport. If enough people feel bullied, they begin to have power. It's about the passage of time.
This is our final class. You made it.
And at a deeper level, the arc of one's life.
It's going to be a wild ride. Thank you for joining me.
Elliot, welcome.
Welcome.
Thank
Elliot.
you.
Elliot, let me thank you. You did a fabulous job. That was not me in that film.
Oh.
I mean, it was me, but you,
Well,
you as director, you really did. It was beautiful.
I had a wonderful producer too, and Heather.
Yes. To
Well,
both of
oh,
you.
do we have to?
But
We
do I
all-
get to clink?
To the
I didn't get
producer.
to clink.
Yeah.
To the
Okay.
producer and to the director.
It's,
And to the subject.
Oh, the
And
subject.
to the,
The
star,
and to
the
the
star.
sucker that let us.
Sucker.
Let us
That's
do
right,
it.
because you guys told me it was going to be just a video, and then short video, and then it became a feature film.
Yeah, but we didn't. It's not. You can't find the evidence that we were like, and now let's dupe him. We just. It,
no, we
it
didn't. We
was
didn't write that
organic,
down.
right?
It was all.
No, there is
Yeah,
there is.
right.
Wall Street Journal just did a piece about the two of
Yeah.
you.
And we were like, that Reich guy is going to think it's going to be a tiny video.
I heard that.
But will you tell us the origin story a little bit? I mean, I know it because I was there for part of it, but I wasn't inside your brain. So tell us, how did you decide to make this?
There are many origin stories. I mean, one is, and I wrote about this, just my own Substack, and it was because it was such a memorable thing to me, was that I first met Bob. And you don't remember this. We've confirmed this before, but
no, I have no memory.
I met you close to about 30 years ago. I was a senior in college. I had a summer internship at ABC News. And the producer at ABC News was in the Boston bureau, and she gave me sort of freelance gigs for jobs she didn't want to do, assignments she didn't want to do. And one of those was apparently meeting you on the Wednesday before Thanksgiving at Logan Airport to get a soundbite.
I mean, I was just coming back from Washington.
You were coming back from Washington, presumably for the holidays, to Boston, and I had to meet you there. I don't know, in the age before cell phones and Google Maps, I don't know how I arranged this.
Thomas Guide.
I don't know. Somehow we were able to, for the young people, they won't understand this, but somehow we were able to meet people and do things before the internet really took off. But I met you, and my job was to get a soundbite, but I thought I was sort of sitting down for like the Frost Nixon interviews or something. And I had my sports coat, my single sports coat that I owned, and I was sweating and with nervousness, and I had these old yellow legal pads, remember those? And I had all these. Somehow I'd done research on whatever the topic. It was some meaningless little news story in the scheme of things, but for me it was my big break. I was going to interview a sitting cabinet member, and so I did that. And then we sort of
Do we have that clip?
We do. So first of all, we have a little clip of it. I mean, you're not in it, but Bob's looking at you.
Well,
so let's look.
What you don't see is what's on the other side. It's nervous little old me.
Right.
American Medical Services is one of hundreds of companies nationwide accused by the Labor Department of mishandling employee retirement contributions. For months, American Medical took the contributions, but never deposited them in its retirement plan. The company has since reimbursed the fund. The Labor Department is cracking down on this kind of abuse.
We are going to return as much money as we can to employees. We're going to prosecute, sometimes criminally prosecute, employers who violate the law.
But that clip just goes a couple of seconds.
Yes.
You prepared as
Oh yes. I had all sorts of follow-up questions, and it was very clear. I mean, it was a master class in you giving a soundbite, and that I even remember now that you spoke with a certain duration and then you paused. And I knew now that, like, to give an editor a clean edit out, and then you gave a little longer answer, and it was just, you knew what you wanted to say and what you had to say, and within 5 minutes after saying hello, it was Happy Thanksgiving, and you were on your way, and I was sort of...
But you must have done that, 40 times a day for how many
sure,
years?
I did that forever. But Elliot, how did you get from there to making this movie?
So I'd sort of, followed your career like a lot of people, and, watched you on TV and all those other things that you've done over the years. And I reconnected through Heather. Maybe you can, I mean, I was working at the time with Dan Rather, and we had started a Substack newsletter called Steady. And I heard that you were thinking of starting a Substack. And
I found Elliot. I was like, who else has done a Substack? And then I saw on LinkedIn that he was in San Francisco.
And so, we met up for breakfast to talk about that. And I just, it was mesmerizing sort of sit and talk to you about all sorts of things, not just the Substack. And I guess I saw in those conversations a version of you and the way that you spoke, not in sort of the formal sense, that it was really intriguing and exciting. And I thought, okay, how do I would love to make a short film or some type of story that featured that. And then Heather told me that a little secret at the time that not many people knew, that you had decided to retire from teaching your big UC Berkeley course. And I thought, here's some type of scaffolding that I could use to tell a story. And I was interested in questions of education and retirement and the arc of life and all of that kind of stuff. And so, I came to Heather and I said, do you think, Bob would be game for this?
And I said no.
Well, you did say no.
Definitely not.
But the film is not about me per se. It's about education, as you just said, retirement, the arc of life. I mean, how did you take your subject, me, and make it into something that was not about me, making it into something that was much bigger?
Well, I mean, several things. One is I started knowing what I didn't want to do. There's been 2 wonderful documentaries made about you and the subject of your teaching already, and in the classroom and students, and sort of the big themes that have, sort of dominated your public presence and messaging. So I knew I didn't want to. That was done and had been done well. I also knew I didn't want to do a sort of traditional biographical documentary with a bunch of, famous people saying how great you were.
Boring.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, what I found captivating was you processing this chapter in your career, and I've always been interested in sort of human stories and people going through life, and I sort of thought, okay, you're touching on some really big themes that are about you but are much bigger than you. And I think the way you talked about them was so compelling that I felt if I could just record that and you agreed to be interviewed and we could capture some of the classroom, we could maybe make a short little film that we could put on YouTube or something and people would find interesting.
But what was there, or maybe you can't even know this yet, but what was there in your own life and background that made you sensitive to these themes of aging, of retiring, of what you leave behind, of transitions?
Well, I think that, I have my parents, are of a similar age of you and are, my father's still working. My mother retired. And I sort of saw, she was a teacher. My father's a research scientist and professor, but also an academic. So I sort of saw that wrestling. I'd worked many years at CBS News. I worked with Dan Rather and followed him as he had left CBS News and see him process that and had seen him have a whole new chapter of his life that I'd helped played a role in. I saw a lot of the other people, I'd come up at a time when a certain generation of news people were sort of exiting the scene and was really fascinating with how they navigated that. So I've always been just interested in, chapters of life. And I've also been in a career in journalism that's been very chaotic and seen a lot of people processing, careers going in ways that they didn't expect it. So I've just always been interested in those, in processing life as it comes, but also people have a sense of mission about what they're doing in life. And that kind of bringing those together and trying to do it and just have a story about that and turning in a story that was really featuring someone who I thought you could be a really great guide through not only your emotions, but reflecting bigger themes that would resonate with people. Because hearing you talk resonated with me, and I felt if it was resonating with me, hopefully it would resonate with viewers.
Well, I have a question for both of you.
Okay, and then I have questions.
Okay, the film has been extraordinarily successful.
I know.
When
this is what I want to talk about.
When you both said you were making, finally you confess you were making a film, a full-length feature film.
Which you saw 2 weeks before it premiered.
Which I didn't see until it was just about ready. My thought was, well, that's nice, but you can't get into the theaters.
That was your thought. I think you might have expressed it out loud.
You didn't really, you were not really thinking about getting in the movie theaters. I mean, I haven't been in a movie theater for years. Nobody goes to movie theaters.
Uh-huh.
I think you said those words.
Yes.
Actually.
And
you're not wrong.
And yet, well, I mean, I am wrong in terms of this film is really breaking box office records in movie theaters around the country.
Mm-hmm.
It's so exciting, but that's because people are going to see it. Someone I talked to this week said it was an antidote to despair, which I think was a Joan Baez quote of some sort at one point. But I do think that people are leaving hopeful. Now, it's not that it's not a poignant. I mean, I think a lot of people have shed tears as they watch it, but I think people think, oh my gosh, look at all the student faces.
I love those faces.
The student faces in this film, the cinematography,
that's great.
The editing by Josh Melrod. I mean, it's it's compact. I mean, it's 71 minutes. It's barely a feature.
Including the credits.
Including the credits. Barely a feature. So it's this little capsule, and people are going in and finding solidarity with people next to them and saying, who are you? Why are you here? And crying together. We've had so many comments and people writing in and anecdotal report backs that people are finding new community in the theater. So they're showing up.
But you say crying. Where are the tears coming? What is it about the film that causes people to tear up?
It's a really good question. And I've almost wanted to ask that of people because I don't think it's sadness per se as a sort of an overwhelming emotion. I mean, use the word poignant, and I think that gets at it. I mean, I think it's recognizing that life is complicated and that you're someone that many people have such affection and respect for, and seeing you process it helps them reflect on how they're own processing it. And I think that can't help but bring forth some sort of emotion.
I have a slightly different theory.
Okay.
Hit us with it.
Well, we are in a very horrible, stressful, dark period of time.
Mm-hmm.
And people know this. Even if they don't want to admit it, even if they don't want to face it, it is with them. And when they have a chance to join with other people in a movie theater and see something that they find uplifting, or they find that it is emotionally connected to them, but is not connected to Trump and the Trump regime, I think the tears are tears of relief and tears of solidarity.
I believe that.
Yeah.
I'm going to write that testimonial down and not mention that you said
I mean, you guys made the film.
No.
I mean,
Well, I think what's wonderful about a film is that it's all those. I mean, everybody comes at it with their own emotions and what affects, what's interesting is you ask people what resonated with them, and people give a lot of different parts of the film. It's not only one thing. But I really do think you're right, Bob, that this idea of coming together, and we see this, whether it's in protests, whether it's in civil action, whether it's all those kinds of online even, but just the importance of gathering with others and finding that sense of solidarity. And that's why we're really making a push to put it into movie theaters, because we really believe that movie theaters are a place where people can literally come together across different demographics, socioeconomic, racial, age, all of that, and really sort of have a common experience. And then, and what's wonderful is you go to these screenings, and people just congregate in the lobby, and they're just talking to people they've just met for the first time, and about their own experiences, about the film, and that is in some ways the best kind of reviews we could have.
Now, we've thanked each other, which I enjoyed doing. But can we just thank all the people that have gone to the theater, selling out extended runs? TheLastClassFilm.com is where you go to see. It is, last time we counted, 49 theaters in 22 states, but it's probably
even
more.
Even red states. I am
definitely red
shocked
states.
At the number of red states and so-called red cities that this film is doing well in.
It's so it's TheLastClassFilm.com. It's so exciting. Thank you for letting us do it.
Well, I want to formally and explicitly thank both of you for doing it.
Thank you.
You caught me by surprise, and
a
lot of other people by surprise.
Yes.
And I want to thank, I want to thank all of you out there as well as we come to an end of another Coffee Klatch. This is the end of the first 6 months of the most trying, despotic regime I can remember in my lifetime. The most trying, stressful time I can remember. And so I want to thank you for going through this with us. And I want to thank you and Jordan Alport, who's the person who's behind the cameras, and someone Michael Lahanas Calderon, who's also been helping out, and Naomi Bradford, who's been editing. But mostly I want to thank you, because it's your support, not just of us and the movie and Inequality Media Civic Action, but it's your support of decency. It's your support of the social contract in America. It's your belief that we can get back on the road that we were on toward a better society and a better world that I want to thank. Because unless you are fighting for that, there is literally no hope. Keep on going. Keep on making the decisions you're making in terms of demonstrating and striking and making bad trouble and writing and causing a ruckus and going to town halls with Republicans who are in your town or in your vicinity, and making sure they understand how you feel and their responsibility to you and to our country. We'll see you next week.
Heartwarming, nostalgic, and unifying.
Democracy is not a spectator sport. Learning is not a spectator sport. It's active.
I thought it was marvelous.
It's an extremely timely film.
It was very raw.
A lot of humanity in this.
The times we live in now, it was definitely tough to think about the future, but this documentary definitely gave me hope.
I think everybody should see this film.
Everybody should see The Last Class.
And I love the focus on inequality and the need to address it.
I think educators should see this. Young families should see this. I think it'll give them hope for these dark days that we're living in right now.
I think it's to send a timely message to our country right now and to really examine where we've been throughout our history to determine where we want to go.
I think we are more united than we are divided. And if more people get that message, we might be able to pull it back together.